Bridgewater. Now, I consider you to be, correct me if I'm wrong, an opera singer, but I know you act. Acting is being very fruitful for you.
Yes, but I'm not really an opera singer anymore.
Okay, so what would you classify yourself
as? I'm a singer, like an R&B soul.
R&B soul singer. And so how did you start out singing?
I started in opera. So I was in the Canadian Children's Opera Chorus and the Mendelssohn Music Choir. And I think I was in Mendelssohn when I was in high school, so that's why you know the opera.
Yes, that's what I mean, because I remember you being an opera singer, right? Very good singer. Now, when was your first note that you said to yourself, oh, I can be a singer? You were very confident, that first note that you sang, whether it be in the shower, dinner table, and you said to yourself, I can sing.
Actually, I was 6 years old, and a friend of mine invited me to her church. And so there was a van that picked up the kids to take them to church, and it was like a big deal for me because I grew up Catholic, and so you don't just go to anybody's church. And we got to the church, and it was the children's concert. So you bring a friend, but then you bring kids to come, and then they all stand in the concert. They teach you a song, and you sing in front of the congregation. And I remember it was Go Tell It on the Mountain.
Can you sing it real quick?
Go tell it on the mountain, over the hills and everywhere.
That's good. She came from a performance last night, so.
No, that's jokes. But I was 6 years old, and all of a sudden the leader of the Sunday school brought me forth and said, okay, you're going to sing the solo. And so I ended up singing a solo, and there was a standing ovation, and I guess I knew then that I did something
pretty awesome, right? Uniquely different from a different 6-year-old, right?
Yeah.
Now, before 6 years old. So when they said, okay, you're going on stage to sing, were you nervous?
No, I wasn't nervous.
I find that very remarkable, right? And you're very confident.
I was also a child, so you don't really have the same kind of nervous energy.
I would agree.
When you get older, there's an expectation that's put on you. I didn't know I didn't know my left from my right, so it didn't matter to me.
So after that first song, you sang, what happened after that? What transpired after that to bring you to this point?
Well, it was like a standing ovation, and it was like, oh, bring your friend all the time, but of course I wasn't allowed to go. I got one stop. That's it. One chance. But my mom was like, I was really hyperactive, and so she decided to put me in a drama program at Earl Dale's Community Center. We lived in North York before I went to Scarborough. And that helped to calm me down quite a bit.
Now, so you're singing. So your next big break that will land you into this platform where you're singing now, what was that next big break?
After university, I came back with my 2-year-old, and I landed a gig called the Bump and Hustle. I don't know if you remember those.
Yes, I do.
The underground,
Yes.
And that was my first kind of introduction to Toronto as an adult singing, with Divine Brown and Wade O'Brown, and it was just a really great cast of people, Julie Black. And that's where Derek Andrews heard about me, and I did the Harbourfront, and then he asked me to come in and do the Women's Blues Review. And that's the show that I did last night, so it was my 20th anniversary.
Doing that show?
Yeah, well, it was my 20th anniversary in the business.
Man, because I remember you doing it forever. I just always remember you singing.
Yeah, because in high school, right?
Yeah, and then there was times where you were singing, and then I heard snippets that you're doing this here, you're doing that here, you're traveling, and things are starting to happen for you. So from singing now for your first acting gig, because I know you've been doing acting a whole lot.
Yes.
Now the transition from singing to acting, how did that happen?
Well, I went to the University of Windsor for music theater, so I always had the acting element as a part of the degree program. And out of school, I think my first professional gig was Little Shop of Horrors in Brockville, Ontario. And that's where I got my equity card. And then I was always doing plays, but then I left for a little while just to focus on music, working on the cruise ships. So I did that for a few years.
I did not know you worked in a cruise ship. I'm supposed to know. You worked in a cruise ship?
Oh, yeah.
And how was that? How was that experience?
It was amazing. I was the jazz vocalist in the lounge, and you're getting paid to travel around the world. And during the days, I would go out and see different things.
Yeah. And they'd be going
and you're 25 and you're young, and it's like so beautiful because everybody's young and
So you've been singing this whole time for 20 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
And usually, like if you talk about sports, the wear and tear on the muscles in that particular sport is sometimes you lose the ability, sometimes you have to work on it, do exercise on it. How do you keep your voice in tip-top shape? Is there exercise you have to do? Do you talk all the time? Do you strain yourself from talking? Like, how does that work?
I think it's a balance. You just have to learn a balance. When you're young and you're in the business, you want to sing every riff. You want people to know what you can do. And then there comes a point in your life where you're like, no, I'm okay with the voice that I have, and I want to tell stories. And so I don't necessarily do all the gymnastics that I used to do, but I feel like my voice has never been stronger. In 2015, I had a mass under my vocal cord.
Okay.
They thought it was a vocal fold cyst from, improper singing. And when they were in surgery, they discovered that it was a mass. And I mean, you can get a tumor anywhere in your body, and it just so happened it was in right underneath my vocal cord. And at that time, I didn't know this until weeks after the surgery, that they had to come out and ask my daughter if they could perform the other procedure, which is I may never sing again. And my daughter had to make the decision at 19 to say, you know what, I'd rather her live than sing.
Yeah.
So she made a good decision, and I went through the recovery, and it's been great. I feel like my voice has never been that better.
Now, through the recovery, were you singing like maybe increments the first week, second week? How was that able?
I was only able to talk for 15 minutes, like in a 2-hour span. Like that's the way that they made it work. So, and the recovery took 6 to 8 months for me to be at full voice.
I broke my kneecap. I was off basketball for 3 months. The withdrawal for not playing basketball was nothing that I would expect.
Right.
The withdrawal for you for singing, how was that?
I think the biggest thing for when you're making a comeback is that you have to get over the mental aspect. There's a fear that you're going to do something wrong and you're going to hurt yourself. There's also a fear of not going for a note and maybe not reaching it. And you actually have to put yourself into the note.
Yeah.
You can't think, I'm not going to reach it, because you won't reach it.
Yeah, just I guess acting same line. You have to be in the moment, same line, being
And so that was an important lesson for me, and I was able to really overcome it. I think the one thing that happened to me was that I was like, okay, well, what if I can never sing again?
What am I going to do?
What am I going to do?
Yeah.
Now, I knew that I had the acting, but I was like, well, maybe I need to teach or do something else. So since, picking up singing and acting again, I decided that I still do want to help younger people.
Yeah.
So I've been, recently I was the choral director for a musical called The Journey with the kids in Regent Park and beyond.
Nice,
And it was a really great program for young people that are facing a lot of turmoil in their lives. You're not just a choral director, you're a counselor.
Yeah. So what's your biggest, I guess, in terms of giving back to music into the community, like you're saying, what's your biggest goal, or how far do you want singing to reach the individuals that you're working with? How can you utilize that?
I want them, they may never have a career in singing, but what I want them to have is a skill set. Knowing how to interact with people, conflict resolution, challenging themselves to learn a piece of music, and then feeling that celebration of actually getting it. Those are the things that I celebrate. And, it's the hugs at the end of I was there. April, we started the studio. August, we did rehearsals, and then the show culminated at the the middle of November.
Now, who are your role models in singing? Who do you think are the best singers? I don't have an ear to decipher who's a better singer, who's not. I want to see what you have to say. Who's the better singer? Who's one of the greatest singers?
Well, I mean, I have to go with my influences, like Stevie Wonder, obviously, Luther Vandross, Lisa Fisher, Whitney Houston, Etta James and Aretha.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You find the singers today, sort of like in the hip hop game, where the older generation are saying they have more pure hip hop versus the mumble rap and the trap music nowadays. So you have that disparity in age groups and music. Do you have that in singing where the R&B or the singing itself has been diluted?
Well, I think that is something that is a common thread, and it's generational, and it transcends music. Music always has a jump off. It's like, you think about the turn of the century, blues music was such a big deal. And then all of a sudden people were doing, it was like from gospel to the blues to jazz. And it was like this intersection of music just spurting out of one thing. And you can't live your life in one thing. There is growth, there is movement. And so I like to say to people that say, the music of today sucks. That's not true. There are some really great people doing great music. I love Kalani's music.
I was one of those people when it came to hip hop and trap music. I was like, and you listen to it. Yeah, it is good, and because there's such an abundance of it, there has to be a percentage of it that's good.
Oh
right?
yeah, absolutely.
And cultures change, right? And music cultures always change because, like I said, the demographics and the generation and so forth, right? So, what do you think your greatest accomplishment in your 20-year span of singing? What's your greatest accomplishment in your opinion?
Okay, I'm going to be hokey and say that my daughter is my greatest accomplishment. And, I started this business when she was 2 years old. And I've been able to raise her essentially with no day job. This is my day job.
And how were you able to struggle through and have the same amount of passion when you had so many hurdles when she was younger, 2 years old, when you got back to Toronto?
I think that you have to feed them. They need
Yeah,
to be clothed.
when the baby's crying, like,
right? So it's so important I think that's also a part of the hustle, is that, I have to provide. So I don't have time to sit down and wait for things to come to me. I need to go out and get them.
Yeah.
And you don't do anything alone. There are people that say that they do things alone, but there's always someone along the way, and I've been blessed with a great family. My mother was instrumental in raising her, especially when I had to leave and go and do the cruise ships. So she stayed with my mom. And it's not always easy to leave your child, but at the same time, you're putting down the seeds,
the
foundation, right? The bricks are being laid. And she says she doesn't remember any of that. So she has no abandonment issues. So that's a good thing.
So to wrap up the interview, your final thoughts in regards to how does somebody in the music industry today, in your opinion, whether it be opera and R&B, break through and create a name for themselves?
I think that young people today have an extremely amazing opportunity because we didn't have the same kind of tools that they have at their disposal now. If you didn't get a recording contract, you were not going to be a recording artist. And that was just the way it was. Unless you had daddy and mommy who had lots of money and they could fund you. So these young people today have YouTube, and they can actually go directly to big companies or organizations that they know are having parties and say, here's my digital music.
Okay.
Book me. You need a singer.
Yeah.
And that's a really great benefit. Like my daughter, who is extremely savvy when it comes to film, and she was the one that said, "Mom, you have to do a YouTube video." So I did a music. It was a video game called Cuphead. Okay. It's a Canadian success story. So they were picked up by Xbox One, and I played the voice of Mr. King Dice. And so it's a real Callaway kind of talking, singing, right? And so I decided to do a video because people didn't believe that it was a woman singing the song. So I posted a video which has now had well over 300,000 views, and I have almost 10,000 subscribers.
You're big.
Well, it's an interesting thing. It's just that I didn't realize that I had access of this. Of YouTube until my daughter was like, no, this is what you do, and so now she's convincing me to post every couple of days.
I would assume that's what you've been doing, because you're a very good singer. The stuff that I saw earlier, that should be posted visibly for everybody to listen to. You have a beautiful voice.
Thank you.
Yeah, you know that 20 years. Come on now,
So
getting booked all the time. So where can they reach you? So first of all, what's in the works for you right now? Where can they see you perform? Anything coming up?
Yes, well, I'm doing, Nathaniel Deck Chorale is the choir that I was a part of when I came back. So again, 20 years. And they're doing their Great Joy concert. It's a Christmas concert. But the thing that I'm extremely excited about is the world premiere of a musical called Rose. And I am in this show. So we start rehearsals in a couple of weeks. And the show opens on my birthday, January 17th, 2019. And I expect you to be there.
I'm gonna be there. What do you mean? I saw the singing.
Yeah. So, but it's not only about my singing. The writers and the musical director and creator of this show is brilliant. And Haley Gillis, who's going to be playing the lead, is exceptional. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Very proud of you.
Oh,
Pearson alumni. I'm so proud of you. Tell them where they can reach you.
So you can reach me on my YouTube channel. That's Alana Bridgewater Gaming. You can also hit me up on Instagram, AlanaB74, or Facebook.
Wow, you act like you didn't know anything about this. You know everything down there. Yeah, man.
Yeah, because my daughter would kill me.
Anyways, thanks for the interview. We're supposed to do it like this.
Wait, okay.
But we got to do this piece. I'll end with peace.
And what do I say?
Nothing. I'm just gonna ask you a couple questions, yo.
Oh.
So this is just like speed questions. What's your favorite color?
Blue.
What's your favorite food?
Roti.
What's your favorite animal?
I don't like animals.
Finish sentence for me. 20 years ago, I would have been if I wasn't a singer.
I would have been a mom.
What advice would you give Alana 10 years ago?
Save your money.
Big. What's your biggest regret?
Not saving my money.
What would you spend it on if you had a lot of money right now?
Investment property.
Are you making good money now?
Yes.
Whoa. And you think you're big?
No.
Okay.
Marginal. I'm what do you call it? A local celebrity.
Hey. You know how to beatbox?
No.
Let's try it. Go ahead.
I suck.
But we're trying.
Okay.
Go ahead. Hey. Hey. That wasn't good, but anyway. Better. I see the effort in there. I see the effort. Can you sing us a note?
No.
Okay, no. Sing us do.
You sound better than I
I know. I'm going through the whole song. Why?
Though a deer, a female deer, ray, a drop of golden sun, me, a name I call myself, far a long way to run.
Okay, wait. So you think you can sing?
No.
So if you had like $1 million, would you make a studio?
No, I wouldn't. I would actually start up a theater company.
How much do you like theater? Do you think you're a better opera singer or R&B singer?
I think I'm a better soul singer.
You got any little soul in you right now? Do you think there's a little soul?
I think that, yes.
Okay, sing something. That's what I meant. Let's go with this one thing.
I have to feel it in my soul to sing. How much are you paying me?
So you can invest.
My fee is.
All right. So we're just gonna wrap this up. Anything you want to ask me?
How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing all right, man.
Yeah?
I'm doing okay. You know how long I wanted to get this interview?
You know how proud I am of you.
Oh, really?
I'm really proud of you.
Oh, thank you.
I always wanted to do this. And I thought you were going to be like, the next Jay Martin.
Okay.
But I love that you're going to be, the next Idris Elba.
No, none of the above, but I'm happy where I am right now. You know what I'm saying?
No, you're doing doing really well. I'm so happy.
Okay, stop. It's not about me. It's about you. So,
Okay, well.
You know what I mean?
Mutual love and respect.
Okay, so last thing. Who do you want to shout out to say thank you for all your support, for all your help? I know you have probably a lot of people. Just give me a couple.
Well, I really want to thank my agents, Sandy Newton, Yannick Landry. They're amazing. To Mike Ross at Soul Pepper. To my daughter, who keeps me grounded. She'll tell me when I suck and tells me to stop singing in the car. And to my mom for her undying support of me when she wanted me to be a lawyer.
Bam. That's our time. You're not doing it. Come on, man.